All right, so who hasn't seen those amazing Thailand villas online and thought, okay, winning the lottery, I am SO living there?
It's definitely a common daydream.
It is. But we're diving deep today on if it's actually doable, owning a villa in Thailand. We've got sources to break down all that legal stuff, where to even start looking and making sure you get a fair deal. What do you think? Is this just a fantasy for most of us?
It's fascinating, actually. Thailand's become so popular, but it's not just retirees anymore. We're seeing younger people working remotely, even investors looking at those rental possibilities. Totally changes the game.
Yeah, it's a whole different world now. Okay, so when we say Thailand, picture this. Those incredible beaches, the culture, the food. Oh, and that weather. Sign me up for permanent poolside relaxation, seriously.
I'm with you there.
But let's be real. Can regular people even BUI property there? That's always seemed a bit mysterious to me.
Right. You hear a lot of confusing things. Technically, foreigners can't own land directly in Thailand. But here's the thing. It all revolves around leasehold agreements. You're leasing the land, usually for a long time, up to 30 years, and often you can renew.
Okay, so not outright ownership, but 30 years is a pretty good run to enjoy that villa life.
Exactly. It gives you a lot of options.
But leaseholds, mortgages, that whole side of things. I'll be honest, my head's already spinning a bit. What are we getting into financially with these setups?
It's about understanding that leasehold means you're essentially renting the land, not buying it. So you'll have payments, but at the end of that lease, you don't own the land itself. It goes back to the original owner.
Ah, okay. That adds a whole other layer to it for sure.
It does, but it also creates interesting opportunities.
Right, so choosing where you buy becomes even more important if it's a lease, not forever. Our sources mention the usual suspects, Phuket, obviously, always a favorite.
Classic for a reason.
We're picturing those beachfront villas, infinity pools overlooking the ocean. Got to come with a hefty price tag though, right?
Phuket is definitely the luxury spot. Think beachfront villas starting around $200,000. Now, before you think that's impossible, remember rentals. You can offset a big chunk of costs if you're strategic.
Right, so Phuket's for those ready to go all in on luxury, with maybe some rental income to balance it out. But for those of us who like things a bit quieter, I'm seeing Koh Samui mentioned a lot as the more laid-back option.
Yeah, Samui's like Phuket's chill cousin, those incredible beaches, but less developed, so you get that untouched paradise vibe. And because it's still up and coming, you might find better value for your money.
So if you're thinking long-term, Samui could be a good bet.
Hmm.
But those aren't the only places, are they? We have to mention Chiang Mai, that seems to be a recurring favorite in our sources for a different kind of Thailand experience.
Totally different vibe. Chiang Mai is all about being nestled in the mountains, rice paddies, traditional architecture, temples, markets, that slow pace of life everyone wants these days.
Sounds amazing. All right, we've covered the appeal, but let's be honest, financing this whole thing is the make or break. Most of us aren't rolling in cash to just buy a Thai villa outright. What are our options, especially with those land ownership quirks?
So traditional mortgages aren't always straightforward for foreigners in Thailand. Some Thai banks offer them, but be ready for a large down payment. We're talking like 30%.
30%. So if we're talking a $150,000 villa,
Maybe $45,000 up front just for the down payment.
okay, that's a serious chunk of change.
Yeah.
Anything else besides completely draining the savings account?
You can explore a few routes. Some international banks might give better terms, but it's not always guaranteed. Then there are personal loans, but interest rates are usually higher, so gotta crunch those numbers carefully.
Yeah.
The key is to do your research.
It's not just about finding the villa. It's about getting the right financial setup, too. And those leasehold agreements, that all factors in, right?
Big time. Before you sign anything, understand that lease agreement inside and out. How long is it? Can you transfer it? What legal protections do you have? This isn't something to gloss over.
Sounds like going solo on this whole process is a recipe for disaster. Time to call in the professionals, right?
100%. Don't even think about messing around with Thai real estate without a good local lawyer who knows the stuff inside out. They are your secret weapon.
Because falling in love with a gorgeous villa is the easy part.
Yeah.
It's the legal side that'll get you.
Exactly. They're your advocate. They make sure everything's legit.
Speaking of legit, what paperwork do people need to have on their radar, to make it all official?
3 big ones. The sale and purchase agreement, that's the nuts and bolts of the deal. Then the title deed, which proves ownership. You want to make sure that's all clean. And then any permits, which depends on the property and location. Your lawyer will guide you there.
Covering your bases, making sure everything's above board so you can actually relax and enjoy that villa. No legal nightmares.
That's the dream, right? Sign the papers, then it's straight to the pool with a cocktail. No worries.
Sounds like a plan to me. Okay, so we've covered the basics, but how do we even find this amazing villa? Is it just endless scrolling online and hoping for the best?
It's not quite that simple anymore.
Oh,
It's the digital age, remember? We've got online portals now. It's like window shopping for your dream villa, but you can actually picture yourself there.
okay, so I'm already browsing beachfront infinity pools. Someone's got to do it. But seriously, with so many listings, how do you even narrow it down and find the good ones?
Good news is, real estate agents in Thailand are still a thing, and they're not all bad. A good agent knows the market, has access to off-market listings, can even help you negotiate a better deal.
Right, because even in paradise, we like a bargain.
Always. And speaking of bargains, let's talk minimizing those upfront costs. That's a big one, right?
Absolutely. How do we make sure we're not going broke before we even set foot in our villa?
Remember how we said negotiation is key? This is where it's crucial. Don't be afraid to negotiate, especially with developers. They're often open to payment plans, especially for the higher-end properties.
So instead of one massive payment, you can spread it out a bit, make it more manageable.
Exactly. And another thing, do your homework. Before you even consider an offer, look at comparable properties in the area. What are similar villas selling for? What amenities do they have? That knowledge gives you leverage to negotiate like a pro.
I like the sound of that.
Mm.
But even beyond the initial price, I'm sure there are hidden costs to those recurring expenses that sneak up on you. What should we be prepared for?
You're right. Owning a villa isn't just a one-time expense. There are those ongoing costs to keep in mind.
Lay it on me. What am I looking at here?
Well, maintenance is a given. Landscaping, pool cleaning, the occasional repair, tropical climates and all. Figure at least a couple $100s a month, maybe more, depending on the villa's size and the weather.
Right. Tropical paradise means beautiful plants, but also probably a few bugs to deal with.
Exactly. Then you've got the usual suspects. Electricity, water, internet. Couple hundred a month there, give or take.
Okay, so we've got maintenance, utilities. What else is lurking in the shadows?
Insurance. Don't even think about skipping this. You need good coverage, especially with the potential for natural disasters in Thailand. Better safe than sorry.
Hope for the best, prepare for the worst, as they say. Insurance, check. Anything else?
Property taxes. Good news is they're pretty low in Thailand compared to some places, but
Yeah.
still something to budget for.
Right. Can't forget about taxes, even in paradise.
Yeah.
So, all in all, what's a realistic monthly expense we're looking at?
It really depends on the villa size, location, all that. But ballpark figure, anywhere from $500 to $1,000 a month for those recurring costs.
Okay, not insignificant, but hey, we're talking about owning a villa in Thailand. So let's say we're good on the finances, villa's ours. Then what? What happens after the papers are signed, the champagne's gone flat?
Well, then the real fun begins. You're officially a villa owner in Thailand. Time to trade the champagne for, well, maybe not a toolbox just yet. But managing your little slice in paradise is the next step.
Because owning it and managing it are two very different things. Do you go full DIY or what?
That's the beauty. You've got choices. You can totally be hands-on, manage it all yourself. Saves you some money, but it's definitely more work.
Especially if you're not living there full-time, I imagine. Dealing with repairs, bookings, all that from afar. Sounds like a job in itself.
You're telling me. That's where property management services come in. They're a lifesaver for a lot of owners, especially those who want that hands-off approach.
So they basically take care of everything while you kick back and relax.
Pretty much. They'll handle maintenance, repairs, even finding tenants, managing bookings, collecting rent, all while you're off enjoying life.
That sounds tempting. But for those who do want to be more involved, what are some key things to keep in mind for managing our own little piece of paradise?
If DIY is your style, then regular maintenance is your mantra. Tropical climates can be tough on properties, so staying on top of things is crucial.
Got it. No procrastinating on that leaky faucet or anything.
Exactly. And don't underestimate the power of a good refresh now and then. Like, villas need makeovers too, to stay competitive in the rental market.
So fresh paint, new decor, that kind of thing.
Exactly. And one more tip that people often forget. Embrace the local community. Network with other villa owners, local businesses, your neighbors. It makes a world of difference.
It's about more than just owning a property. It's about being part of the place, right?
100%. And you know what goes hand in hand with that? Tapping into the rental market.
Okay, now we're talking. Our sources mention the income potential from rentals, but also said it's not as easy as just listing it online and watching the money roll in.
It takes a bit more effort than that. First of all, figure out who your ideal guest is. Are you aiming for families, honeymooners, remote workers? You needed to tailor your approach.
So it's like knowing your audience.
Exactly. And then first impressions are everything. In the online world, photos are crucial. You want high-quality photos that showcase your villa's best features.
So no blurry iPhone pics from the corner of the room.
Definitely not. And your description matters too. Be specific about amenities, house rules, everything. Transparency is key. You don't want surprise guests showing up.
Transparency is key, got it. But it's also about making it sound appealing.
Right, absolutely. Paint a picture with your words. Make people feel like they're already there, relaxing by the pool.
I could do that. But even with the best listing, communication is key, right?
Huge. Respond to inquiries quickly, be helpful, make people feel valued. That first impression matters.
Okay, communication is key, got it. What about once they've booked? How do you make sure guests have a fantastic experience?
It's about going above and beyond. Think welcome baskets, local recommendations, maybe even a handwritten note. Those small touches make a difference.
It's those little extras that people remember. So you're not just renting a space, you're providing an experience.
Exactly. And don't underestimate online reviews. Happy guests are your best marketing tool.
Right. Those good reviews really matter these days. But let's be real, even with the best planning, stuff happens. What are some challenges villa owners should be prepared for?
Well, sometimes you get those difficult guests, the ones who leave the place a mess or cause damage.
Okay, nobody wants to think about that, but it's good to be prepared.
Yeah.
What's the best way to protect yourself?
Clear house rules are a must, and a security deposit can help cover any damages. And of course, make sure your insurance is up to date.
Okay, so you're covered for those guest-related issues. What other hurdles are there?
Maintenance can be tricky, especially remotely. That leaky faucet we talked about, fixing it yourself is one thing, but if you're miles away...
That's when those frantic calls to local plumbers start happening.
Exactly. Having a network of reliable contractors on speed dial is essential.
So be proactive. Find those people before you need them. What other wisdom do you have for dealing with those unexpected issues?
Communicate. If you're working with a property manager, regular check-ins are essential. They're your eyes and ears on the ground.
Stay informed. No news is not always good news in this case.
Right. And lastly, remember, things move a little differently in Thailand.
Ah, yes. Thai time. Tell me more about that.
Things are a bit more relaxed there. Deadlines are more like suggestions, you know?
So go with the flow, embrace the unexpected.
Exactly. Let go of the need to control everything and enjoy the ride.
Sounds like good advice for life in general. Okay, we've covered so much, but it's clear this is a big decision. What are your key takeaways for anyone seriously considering taking the plunge and buying a villa in Thailand?
First things first. Do your research. And I don't just mean looking at pretty pictures online. Dive into the legal stuff, understand the process, talk to experts.
Knowledge is power, as they say.
Right.
What else is crucial?
Location is huge. Thailand has so much variety, you need to figure out what kind of environment suits you best. Do you want those bustling beach towns or something more laid back?
Right, are you a Phuket person or a Chiang Mai person? Big question.
Huge. And once you found a place you love, don't skimp on due diligence. Get that property inspected, have your lawyer review everything, make sure you're 100% comfortable.
No rushing into it.
Definitely not. And remember, this is a commitment, not just a vacation. Be realistic about those ongoing costs and familiarize yourself with your responsibilities as a homeowner in Thailand.
Be prepared for the long haul. Not just the Instagram-worthy moments, but beyond all that, there's the whole cultural aspect, right?
Exactly. Owning a villa in Thailand gives you this incredible opportunity to immerse yourself in a new culture. Embrace it. Learn a few Thai phrases. Try the food. Talk to locals.
Don't be afraid to dive in head first.
Exactly. But also remember that Thailand has its own customs and traditions, so be respectful.
Right. Do your research. Observe how locals behave. It's about being a good guest in their country.
Precisely. And be prepared for a different pace of life. Embrace that Thai time we talked about. It can be frustrating at first, but it's also incredibly freeing once you adjust.
It's about slowing down, enjoying the moment, right?
Exactly. It's a different way of life, and it can be truly transformative.
Okay, so we've talked logistics, cultural immersion, but there's also a personal side to this. Making such a big change, it's got to have an impact on you personally.
You're right. It's not just about the property. It's about the life you create there. A lot of people find that it allows them to reconnect with themselves, rediscover what's important to them.
It's about breaking free from those old routines and embracing a new adventure.
Absolutely. And who knows, maybe you'll surprise yourself with what you discover along the way.
That's what I love about this whole thing. Okay, so much to think about, but let's switch gears a bit. Beyond just owning the villa, what about experiencing Thailand itself? It's about taking that leap and finding a life that really fits. The things you care about, the stuff you love doing, that urge for something more.
I love that. It's not just owning a piece of paradise, it's letting it change you,
Yeah.
from the inside out.
And as much as I love the practical side, the deals, the managing, all that, it's those moments, those experiences, that's what makes it all worthwhile, right?
100%. In the end, it's not about the villa itself, it's the life you're living in it. The people, the memories, that's the good stuff.
Couldn't agree more. Well, I think it's time to say lagon to this deep dive, as they say in Thailand. We've gone from those legal details to embracing the local culture, right?
From the city streets to those beaches everyone's dreaming of.
Exactly. We talked about making money with rentals, finding those hidden gems. But the biggest thing is this isn't just a purchase, it's a whole lifestyle change. Owning a villa in Thailand, it makes you rethink what's possible.
It's about embracing the unknown, pushing your boundaries, saying yes to something new.
It's trading those everyday routines for, I don't know, fresh coconuts by the ocean. Maybe a pet elephant. Okay, maybe not that, but you get the idea.
We've given everyone a lot to think about. Hopefully we've sparked some inspiration, to dream big, do your research, and realize this is possible if you're willing to put in the work.
We've given them the map. Now it's up to them to start driving.
Exactly. And who knows, maybe we'll all be bumping into each other on some beautiful Thai beach someday, swapping villa stories.
Now that's an invitation I'm holding you to. So until then, keep dreaming, keep exploring, keep diving deep into the things that make you come alive.
Well said. Safe travels, everyone.